Now let's try to understand the OR and AND function even further by doing these questions. So these are past questions for the midterms practice. Let's look at the data set over here. So it's giving us different columns labeled as A, B, C, D with different numbers, and then on your right you have conditions. So the first question says find the average of F, that means this column, when all of the first two conditions are met. So these are the first two conditions, that A should be greater than 30 and B should be greater than 120. Now how will we solve this? We will create another column over here and we will start with the if function, and then we will use our nested functions by using or the AND function. So this first question asks you to meet both of the conditions. So it's asking you all of the first two conditions should be met. For this you need to use the AND function. So we will type equals to if, and then we will type in AND. Now the first logic is that this cell should be greater than 30. You can either type 30 over here like this, or you can simply select this cell and make it absolute. Then your second logic is that this cell should be greater than 120. Make it absolute, brackets close. So now you are done with the AND function and you have moved out to the if function. These notations keep changing and they tell you which function you are in. Right now, if my cursor is over here, you know you are in the AND function, and when you put the comma over here, you know that you have moved out into the if function again. So now you need to give value if true and value if false. These can be any values. I will give them A or B, and then I will press enter. So now I have these A's for the parts where my conditions are being met, and B where my conditions are not being met. That's the value if false. So now we need to find the average of F where the conditions are being met. I will apply the average if formula. So we will type average if. Now we are going to give this average if the condition that find the average of this range only if this cell is A. If this is not A, then you are not going to include the value in the average. So the range for the criteria is this column, and our criteria is cell A, and you will make this absolute. Then the average range is your column F, for which you need the average. You get the average and this is your final answer. So when in a quiz or in an exam, don't omit any part of this working. So don't omit the if and AND function, or don't omit your average if function. You need to show everything within the worksheet to get the marks. Now the second question is asking you to find the average of if F when either 4 or 5 condition is met. So your fourth and fifth condition is that D should be greater than 430 and E should be greater than 520. So now either one of these conditions should be met, and for either you are going to use the OR function and not the AND function, because now it's not necessary for both the conditions to be met. So you will type if and then you will type OR. And the first logic is that D should be greater than 430. So you will select D greater than 430, make it absolute, comma, E should be greater than 520, absolute, brackets close, comma, to move out to the if function, and then value if true. Right, so you can write yes and no, brackets close, and enter. So now we have yes in the places where D or E are greater than 430 and 520 respectively, and we have no in the places where none of the conditions is being met. So when we take the average in this condition, we will again type average if, and then now the range for the criteria is this column which we have created over here. So you will select this and then you will select your criteria, which is the yes that you are getting, and then the average range is again your F column. So now this yes depicts that either one of these conditions is being met, and only when these conditions are being met is the situation when we are finding our average. Now you press enter and you have the answer. The last part is asking you for a sum of column A if the third and fourth condition are met. So now we are not finding the average of F, we will be finding the sum of column A, and the two conditions which we need are the third and the fourth condition. So this indicates that we will use the AND function. The third and fourth conditions are over here. So let's create another column again and type in if and then and then feed both the logics. So the first logic is that C should be greater than 320. You will select C and then make it greater than 320, and then select D and make it greater than 430. Brackets close, comma, value if true could be true itself, and you could write false over here. Close your brackets, enter. So the false now means that either one or none of your conditions are being met, and true means that both of your conditions are being met, and you need the sum when both the conditions are being met. So now you will do sum if equals to sum if. Now the range for your criteria is the new column which we created, and your criteria is true, and the sum range is the A column. So you need the sum of A only when both of your third and fourth conditions are being met, which is depicted by the true over here. Now you will close your brackets and